In this lesson, we're going to carry on with this whole WrapTuck throwing feature in the game here, and we're going to actually make it more realistic and believable to our game. Right now, he's just looking forward and daggers are just shooting out of nowhere. We want him to actually trigger his throwing animation, and then we're going to be using an animation event. So when his arm is extended, then the dagger will spawn out of that spawn point to make it look like he's actually throwing something. So let's get on into our script here. So let's go down to our scripts and let's make this happen. So let's go character throw, open this beast up here. So what do we need to do? We need to actually gain access to his animation, his sprite animation game object to access those animation parameters so we can trigger his throw when we hit the up arrow key here. So let's do just that. Let's go up here and let's say animation WrapTuck parameters. Okay, so what do we want to do? We want to create a private animator and call it WrapTuck anim. All right, and now let's just quickly assign this thing here. So let's go WrapTuck anim. So now we have this all set up and assigned. So let's go down here. So this throw dagger function, we're not actually going to be using right away here. We're going to be calling that in our animation event. So what happens now is we're just going to shift our logic a bit. We're going to say when we hit the up arrow key, let's access that WrapTuck anim, and then let's just set the boolean of this to actually control our throwing animation. Okay, so let's go dot set bool, and I'm going to say throw, and set it to true. Okay, so let's go and actually create this throw parameter in our animator. So let's go to our WrapTuck sprite player, animator, and let's find our throw here. And I created a throwing parameter, and I just said when it's true, throw. When it's false, don't. Go back to your idle. Alrighty, so let's go back into our script. So I just named this one throwing. Okay, so let's go back to our scene view here, and let's go back into our character throw, and let's just rename this to throwing. Perfect. So we've got that happening. So now what do we need to do? Now let's think about this for a second. We now have it so we've called our animation to throw to be true whenever we hit that up arrow key. But we need something to tell it to go back to false so we can go back to our idle after he's thrown, right? So let's go into that throw dagger function here, which we're going to be calling. And let's say set our animator back to false throwing. Okay, so let's just go like this. I'm just going to save a little bit of time. Copy that, and let's paste this and set it back to false so we can go back to our idle once we've instantiated that dagger. Awesome, so that's all set up and good to go. Okay, and then one other thing we need to think about here is we're going to update this logic here. So we want to say if we hit the up arrow key, and then we also want to make it so if WrapTuck even has a dagger, then he can only throw it. If not, then this will do absolutely nothing. So that's what we need to do now. So we need to gain access to our good old player state script here. So let's go in here just to open it up. We need to say if he has the dagger. Okay, and then after he throws it, we also need to add within this throw dagger function that he now does not have the dagger anymore. So that's false, and he can't just button mash up and glitch the game out and have infinite daggers. Okay, so let's go up here and let's create a function, and let's just say accessing our player state script, and I believe I spelled that wrong. Okay, so let's just go private player state and player state. All right, and let's just use this as a building block here. Player state, perfect. Okay, so now let's go in here and we want to say if we hit the up arrow key and player state dot has dagger is true, then this will trigger that throw animation. So let's go to our throw dagger function here, and now we also want to just set it so after throwing he does not have dagger anymore. So let's just go like this, player state dot has dagger equals false. This function's all done. So now we have everything completely ready to go in this script. moving on, next we actually need to have it so we can make this throw dagger function into an animation event. And if you remember, we need to actually have this function usable from the game object that actually has all the animation parameters on it. And if you look here, we have this good old script that we created a while ago, character animation events. So let's open this one up here, and all we want to do right now is let's call upon this character throw script so we can we'll make a new function out of this function from this script so we can use it as an animation event as it's applied to the sprite game object. Alright, so let's go and do that just now. Let's go private, and we want to call this character throw. And I'll just say character throw. Alrighty, and let's go down here and say character throw equals, here we go. We have a great building block right there. WrapTuck character, get component, and let's say character throw. I want to actually type that from the beginning just to be sure. Alright, cool. So character throw, we now have access to this script which has that function we need as an animation event. So let's go ahead and create one more event in here, and let's say throw dagger. Right on. So let's go public, and let's say void, and let's say throw dagger. Cool. And let's add our brackets, and let's say character throw dot, what's that function called? Oh, just throw dagger. Throw speed. Now I do not see throw dagger showing up because this actually needs to be a public variable so we can access it within other scripts as well. So now I've made that change, made it to public, save this script, and then now I should have no problem accessing that. So let's go throw dagger. Beautiful. It's a function, so I'll add those, and now that's all we need. So now we can assign that to our animation. We'll call upon this function, and we'll use that as an animation event, and this dagger throwing system should be already good to go. So let's go into our sprite player here, and let's load up this throw dagger animation. So now let's go to this frame where he's actually throwing it, and let's go ahead and create a new animation event. And right now we need to call upon that throw dagger function that we just created. Throw dagger, close that off, and we should be good to go. I'm going to save the game here. And one thing you can also keep in mind is if you want to be throwing from a jump, you can also go ahead, create those transitions here. And at a walk, that's all good, because I want to be able to jump and throw, right? So let's go here, and let's use that condition. Throwing equals true, and throwing equals false. Perfect, so now we can throw from walking, idling, or jumping. And now let's go and test this out. So let's hit play, and now I'm hitting the up arrow key, nothing's happening because I do not have a dagger. So I need to go here. Let's select my character so I can see this all happening in the background here. So let's go player state. And now I'm going to walk over to this vase here. And now you can see I can collect dagger. Let's collect that dagger. Cool. So now I have the dagger. And now I'm going to just go hit the up arrow key. Cool. There you go. Now it's linked up with his animation. So let's go and collect one more. You can see that event is working beautifully. So when I go, his arm extends and the dagger's launched. Just like that. Awesome. And let's test out one more quickly with the jumping. Let's see if that's working. So I'll go here, jump, and throw. I can do all of that, no problem at all. Awesome. That is great. So I'm going to close that off, stop the playback, save this game. Now you can see how you can just go ahead and create new game objects anywhere based on whatever functions you want. And you can even tie them to animation events, which gives you complete control in your game. So let's go on to the next lesson. Let's go ahead and see how we can use this whole instantiate concept to create health power-ups within our game. So I look forward to seeing you there.